Are you satisfied? Happy? Miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? It's time for the Michele Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Tune in daily and join our controversial topics as we talk about singles, sex, and men and women's issues. And now, the queen of relationships on the Michele Hughes Show. Always keeping it real. Your host, Michele Hughes.
Well. Yes, we made it, you guys. We made it live. I'm so excited to be back on the air. Oh, yeah, it's been 2 days of really tough days, not understanding what was going on. But let me tell you this. That's right. That's right. Woo! Yeah, we're going to boo at the devil because he didn't want us to start this show, but I'm letting him know we're going to boo at him one more time to let him know. That's right. You are a defeated foe, and yes, the Michele Hughes Show is going to be here, and I want to thank all of you all who came back looking for me, not wondering what was going on. But I'm here to say that this is going to be a time where you can come and get information concerning being single. We're going to have interviews. We're going to give out gifts, just free things that will help you stay single. I've been single all my life. I'm 56 years old, and I'm proud of it. I never wanted to get married. I'm just recently desiring marriage. I never wanted children. And so even though I enjoyed helping other people with their children, that was, mainly, if I can remember right, back in, I would say like in your late 20s, most of my girlfriends, I would say like 29, they really, if they didn't have somebody, they found someone to get married to because they were determined they were going to have some children. Well, that wasn't my issue, and I began to remember beginning to say, what is going on? Everybody's acting crazy. And I began praying, saying, I don't know what has come over these people, but what I don't want is that spirit to come on me. So I have enjoyed my single days, and in days to come I will enjoy getting married. But right now, we're going to talk about being single, and our topic today is 10 Rules of Singleness. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you a little bit more about me. Some of you don't know me. I've had other radio stations, broadcasts, I should say, and I've enjoyed doing this, speaking to, basically, I didn't always say I was speaking to singles, but I began to narrow it down. These are the people who I understand because I've been single all my life. Now, of course, I've had married friends too, but we're going to deal with single issues because this is something that sometimes is overlooked. If you can think back, sometimes you who are single, people tend to look at married people as if their life is more important than a single person. Now, when you really think about it, I have no idea why they think that. Because single people, if you're dating someone, it's a little different. You have someone to depend on. But if you're not dating anyone, I chose to not date because I had 5 people who wanted to marry me and went to counseling for one. And I realized I really wasn't ready. One, when I was almost going to get married to this gentleman, he had 2 degrees at that time. He was an engineer, and I didn't have 1 degree. Now, I know that's not the reason why you get married, but it was one of those things that basically it troubled me concerning not having my degree. And I think it was an issue because my mother always pressed that issue. You should go back to school and get your degree and all that, So I'm saying this to say this. Some of you singles have issues with things that have gone on in your life, and some people have There are people who have been raped. There are men who have been cheated on by women and vice versa. And so you have issues concerning getting married. And so I believe that this is a time when you're single to begin to look at you as a person and evaluate some of your good points, some of your giftings, the things that you would be an asset to someone else. I don't think we should be a liability to someone if you're considering getting married. But the only way you can change that is to begin to look at your shortcomings, and it's hard. Most times that's hard to look at your negative issues. And I'm not saying dwell on it, but I think that just to think about all the positive things and not think about some of the areas that you know that would trouble you. And I can say that after taking care of my mother for the past 16 years now, and was helping my dad before he went on to be with the Lord. I can say I went into helping her because she was when my dad died, she was in a wheelchair. And I thought, I'm doing this for my mother. And in actuality, I wasn't only doing it for my mother. I realized it settled me. That's why I can say today I'm more prepared to get married than I was before, because all I thought about was my business, school and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I still don't think about school, because I went back recently, going back working on my doctorate. But I'm not saying all that to say this. My mother helped me taking care of my mother helped me to settle myself. I had to take care of her physically sometimes, cook, clean. Not that she didn't teach us that as girls, because she had 4 daughters, so we had to, clean. But I didn't always have to cook. And so I had to learn how to cook, and she was teaching me all the way. She may not have had to get into the kitchen, but I surely was getting some of her tips, and, tips I got from my aunts too. But it helped me to settle me. And some of us need to be settled because we're so single until if we got married, hey, he'd be having to cook for you or take you out to dinner every day. So this is the time that we need to begin to look at some of the things that we bring to the table and some things that we're not bringing to the table. And I'm saying this because you don't know me, and I'm just giving you who I am as a person, so you'll get a little, who is this person coming on talking about single, sex, and satisfied? That's where I'm single, ain't having no sex, and I'm satisfied being single. And some of us can't say that because we make sex a big issue, when sex should not be the issue of the day. Now, when you're married, that should be the best thing ever, to be able to, have your husband when you want, vice versa, but when you're single, this is a time God really wasn't trying to hold sex back from us singles. He really wasn't. He really is saying this: get to know you. And we spend so much time hating on ourselves, and instead of loving ourselves in the image of Him, because when you come to know Christ as your personal Savior, He teaches you how to love yourself and how to look at everything within you to make you a better person. And that's what has happened to me these I've been saved 36 years. Well, I'm going to say 36 years because really it's 35, but I'm going to sneak 36 in there because in 1978, we went to Toronto, Canada, and my family and friends and stuff. And my girlfriend and I, we were in a store shopping, and this lady from 100 Huntley Street, she came up to me and said, well, do you know Jesus? I'm like, well, not really. Unity taught us how to think positive and how to think good about things, but it really didn't teach us about salvation. And so she led me to the Lord. So that's how I first came to the Lord. I think it was July 15, 1978. And so I thank God for that one, because from that I began to, desire to have a different lifestyle. And I knew one uncle, one of my mother's brothers, he went to a sanctified church. I went over to their church and I got saved over there, and they immediately took me down to the water, okay, and got me baptized. I guess I came up saved, but I didn't stop doing everything, okay, to be truthful, after that time. But what it did, it led me into seeking and desiring more of God. And I started looking at Christian TV on the television, and found Pastor George Bogle, and pretty much all my family got saved. My mother, father, sisters, brother, and aunts and uncles and cousins. And my mother began to have like a Bible study in the home and just start teaching the Bible. And it was amazing how so many people came to the Lord. That's what we need to do more today in these latter days. We should have more just unity in our families. Because I don't know about you all, but when you see what's happening over in the Middle East, these are things that my mother talked about years ago, you know. And now you see actually these things coming to pass. Anybody knows about, you know, Bible history with Israel and Iraq. When you see all these things happening over there, you know, in Russia, Magog and Gog, you know, and when you look at I want to say First Samuel, and I can't think of some of the other Bible books, but where they teach on these things in Daniel. That's what I'm trying to Daniel. And so these are some of the Bible prophecies that are coming to pass today. Now, I'm not trying to, you know, teach a Bible history course today, but what I want you to get from this conversation, singles, is that we need to begin to think more about ourselves and making you better. And that's what I have tried to do in these 56 years that God has blessed me with. I don't look at it like, oh, I'm not married, I don't have no children. You know, I was talking to one of my sisters, and she said she desired to have children, even though she never had children. And she says, well, you know, I'm not like you. I did desire children. You know, I thought, well, most people who really desired to have children, they went out and have them. So I was really wondering, did she really desire it really badly? You know, I hope she's not listening. But anyway, Diane, I'm sorry. I hope you understand. But anyway, getting back to the subject, I'm just kind of giving you a little who I am and me being single. So when you hear me talking, I'm not just talking off the cuff. I'm talking from being single and learning how to do it according to the scriptures. And I believe that when we learn how to live according to the scriptures, we just have a better lifestyle. I'm not saying you're not going to have no troubles. Listen, you saw what happened to me these 2 days. He did not want me to come on. And I want to thank my brother. He called me and he prayed with me. And I told him, I said, you know what? I almost gave up. And I heard T.D. Jakes, he was on TV saying, don't give up. And then I heard Joel Osteen say, don't give up. I was like, okay, I'm not going to give up. You know, I wanted to give up. But then I had to go to the store and get some more equipment and stuff like that. And I just want to thank Chuck Miller from the Guitar Center, because he really worked with me. I had to take stuff back, and I guess that man probably said, you don't know what you doing, lady. Why don't you go? He asked me, do you have any help? I'm like, no. That's the problem with us. We need help, and we don't get help. And I want to thank my dear girlfriend, Alberta Cato. She was another one who really called me and inspired me to, you know, go on and do what God has called me to do in doing the show. And I hope that when you come back, I pray that you get something from every time you come back and you come to our show. I pray that you will get something from our show. Well, listen, I'm going to go to a break. I'm going to come right back and continue the conversation.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as we deal with more heart-to-heart issues. This is the Queen of Relationships on the Michele Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Stay with us on the Michele Hughes Show. It's the Michele Hughes Show. We keep it real. We talk about singles, sex, men and women issues. Come join the conversation on the Michele Hughes Show. Are you satisfied, happy, or miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Well, tune in daily and join our controversial topics. She is the Queen of Relationships on the Michele Hughes Show. She keeps it real. Don't miss a show with Michele Hughes.
Well, before we get back into the conversation, I got a single love poem that I want to read to you. It's called Believe in Love. I believe in love. This sincere belief came to me one day, not so long ago, after my breakup, with someone I once thought I would spend my future with. I still believe in love. Things happened for a reason. Though I couldn't see the connection right this moment, my heart tells me to keep believing. Love is a mere distance away, or so I thought and hoped for till I closed my eyes. And I feel abundant love welling up, nourishing my senses and soul. I see love stories easily these days. I can't help but notice taking my breath away, making my heart soar and my eyes tear, telling myself gently I could have the same. My love would come someday. You'll walk right into my life, just when I least expect you, letting the realization hit me. And finally, I could see the connection. Love does and can happen when you're happy on your own, delightful of your own being, drawing your love to you somehow, leading you to a final match of hearts. For now, keep believing in love. Believe your love, he's out there. Believe he's too looking for you. Believe in it in your heart and soul. Believe in love. And of course, that was for the gentleman too. You know, it says he, but it was for she also. Because there's some men who are also believing God for a wife. And you're saying, yeah, you know, I really desire to have someone in my life too, Michele. Well, I'm going to give you some 10 rules of singleness in a minute. We're going to do 5 today. We're going to do 5 tomorrow. And I believe that as you continue to attend the show, it's going to give you a positive view about your single life and who you are as a single person, and to begin to believe in yourself and have faith in God. And I can't say it no other way, because I'm a Christian and I love being saved. I've lived in the world, I've partied and had fun, and but you know what? I can say that for 30 plus years that I've been saved now, I thank God that he came and saved me. And I can remember giving God a preposition, or letting him know. I said, well, I'm gonna get saved, but if this thing don't work, hey, I'm out of here. I remember telling God that when I got saved. Well, lo and behold, 35 years later, I'm still saved. And I just want to read with you all Romans 5. Faith brings joy. It says here, we're going to read 1 through 5. It says here, therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, by whom also we have access by faith into this grace, wherein we stand and rejoice in hope of the glory of God. And not only so, but we glory in tribulation, also knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given into us. See, that's where the hope and the faith in God, it takes faith to believe that there is a Savior and that he came and he went to the cross. And now that's why I can say I've been saved for 35 years and haven't looked back, and have had a good saved experience, because no, it doesn't come without problems. People, if you think it's going to come without problems, you're a problem. Just look at yourself. When you think about all the issues you have just by yourself alone, God's got a lot to deal with. And you know what? The thing is, he doesn't go against your decision. So you think, well, why don't you help me? Well, you got to help yourself. You got to help yourself by first saying, Lord, I want you in my life. I desire you into my life. That's what I had to do. He's not going to beat you in the head and make you stop doing the stuff you're doing and say, okay, now you ready? He'll send people to you. Like, I can remember my girlfriend when I was working at Frank Murphy Hall of Justice at that time as a typist. And my girlfriend, I call her my spiritual mother, Brenda Brown, she came on that job, and, we all was heathens. And she came in, and man, she would go through that office. I guess she probably say, dang, it must be a lot of demons in here, because we would look at her real strangely like, what is wrong with her? She would go through there praying, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. And so anyway, during lunchtime, she would come and take me in the restroom and begin to minister to me. And my girlfriend, she worked across the street for Edison, and she started realizing, something was happening with her. It's like my sister Diane. We started realizing something's going on. It's changed. I won't change. Because of time, you won't change. And so she started telling me about her saved experience and how she had gotten saved, and that's when Brenda started taking me into the restroom, teaching me the Word of God. And that's the freeing thing. When you learn the Word of God, man, that's what gets you to where you need to be. It's the Word. I mean, when you hear the Word telling you different things and telling you the life and that He wants for you, oh man, how can you give up that proposition? I mean, I ain't seen a man yet. All the men who wanted to get married to me, I ain't seen one gave me that good of a proposition. I fell in love with Jesus Christ, and I ain't looked back. I ain't seen a man yet that can knock me off my street. Now wait, hold it. Now I ain't telling y'all not to knock me off my feet, the right one. But when the right one comes, oh, I don't know. You'll have peace that surpasses all understanding, just like I had with him. And so that's when you know you got the right man in your life, or right woman in your life. You'll have a peace. It won't be, it's not going to say, you're not going to have your issues or getting to know one another, because that's just how it is. I mean, he's coming from a different background. You coming from a different background. You weren't raised by the same parents. So, of course, you're going to have different likings and tastes and desires or what have you. But that's what makes it interesting. As long as you don't go too far off the cuff and get somebody who's just a crazy maniac. And so that's what you don't want. You don't want to get someone who's just totally out the box and you don't relate in any areas. I mean, that's not cool at all. Well, I'm going to give you one of the 10 rules of singleness. One is learn to have a personal relationship with God. And that's what we've been talking about. You have to ask God into your life as your personal Savior, to be the Lord of your life, singles. If you really want that peace that surpasses all understanding, now you may be hanging out and something's tugging at you. I can remember being on the floor with my boyfriend one time and dancing and and all that, and I remember a voice just coming to me, and it was like, let me know it's more to this. I was like, I'm looking at Eddie like, did you hear that? And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? I remember going home talking to my sister like, do you feel like something's going on, like you need more? And we did. We needed more. And I thank God for the people who came and witnessed to me, like Brenda, who came and shared her belief with me. And I'm not afraid of the gospel of Jesus Christ to be on this station and letting you know that I trust in God. And you all who may say, oh, here we go again, talking about God. I don't want to hear no more about no religious. And this is not religion. This is about having a personal relationship with God and what He'll do for you and what He did in my life. He took the desire of drinking and smoking and carousing and I wasn't a bad person, but I was still going to hell. You all think, oh, I ain't. Yeah, you are. You're going to hell if you have not accepted Him as your Lord and Savior. That's the bottom line. And so I thank God for the people who came into my life and who was bold enough to let me know that, girl, you need Jesus in your life. And I said, okay. I could have said no to my girlfriend when she was taking me in the restroom on my lunch hour and saying, nah, girl, I gotta go eat. No. We went in that restroom and we took our lunch hour. She was bold enough to say, you know what? I'm going to help her. She needs to come to the Lord. And look, 35 years later, we're still friends. And I thank God for her. I really do. I always thank God for that sister, for helping me understand the true meaning of salvation. And I had a grandmother who I know when our house caught on fire, and we had to live with her for a year until they repaired the damages on our home. And I couldn't sleep upstairs. It was like I would break out. And so everybody else in our family, could sleep upstairs. But I had to sleep downstairs with my grandmother. And I believe during that time, God led me to my grandmother. And she prayed over my life. I know she did. And I thank God for that experience. Because I just, that's something that I still thank God for her. And I think about my grandmother many a days. I think about her and just her just kindness to the world, taking in strangers and giving people homes who were homeless. She had no fear. She just opened up her home to people, and she had about 5 bedrooms, and just never, her kids, they were all grown, but she still always had family members coming back needing a place, and she never said no, will cook, and she just went too far sometimes, I think. But that was her, and she did what she felt in her heart she had to do. But I thank God for her, because I believe that I'm who I am today because of the love that she showed to people. And that's something that I always stress in my life, is I try not to, look at people and judge them. I always say, Lord, help them to be better, instead of judging them and not seeing good in people. I think when we get to that point in life, that especially when the person doesn't know Christ, and even if they do know Christ, I believe that we have to learn how to love people unconditionally. And I think that's my next one, is number two. Number two is learn to be yourself, to be not yourself, but to be your own best friend. That's number two. And when you learn to be your own best friend, you learn to love yourself. And that means that everybody may not like you. And unfortunately, you may not understand why people may talk about you, say bad things about you, what have you. You think, but I'm just such a loving person. Why can't they see that? Well, you got an adversary out here, the devil. And he works in people. He works through people. And you have people who will say lies about you to get people to think differently about you for whatever reason. And so you can't become like them. You just have to say, well, okay, they just missed out on knowing a good person, and move on. But some people, we just going to make the people like you. You just keep on trying to be with the people. The people have told you they don't like you. So why are you holding them hostage by, trying to make them love you? No, get over it. Get over that. And number three is learn your weaknesses. Many times we don't want to look at ourselves and see some of the areas that you may have inside of you that you need to grow therein. You need to grow as a better person. And sometimes you may have a spirit of lying, a spirit of cheating, a spirit of just not doing the right thing, or just maybe maybe you're a workaholic. You just work too much, don't know how to enjoy life. You know who you are, and if you don't know who you are, that's why we're saying this. Learn some of your weaknesses, so when you get with a person, you don't want them to spread or tell you, you are just this, that, or the other. You don't want them to have to awaken you with some of the areas in your life that you need to grow stronger in as an individual. So if you begin to ask God, Lord, help me to become a better person. And you do that by getting into the Word. The more I believe you get into the Scriptures, and He begins to show you a new way and transforming the way you think about life, you'll see that, oh man, I like this way. I like, the Spirit teaching me things about myself that I need to change on the inside. And so, thank God for people who also help us. There are people who come and tell you, you talk too much. There are people, they think you talk too much, so they just hang up the phone. Or you're like, well, what happened? What? In other words, they try to tell you talking too much. You long-winded. I had an aunt like that. She was kind of a quiet person, my Aunt Valeria. She was kind of quiet, but man, when she get on that phone, she could talk to you to no end, and you thinking, oh my God, Valeria, but that's what happens when you really are not talking to people. So then, or you have children, I'm learning that taking care of my mother, because I think I'm long-winded too. Yeah, I used to hear my sister talk about when she had the children, and when you get with other people, you just run your mouth 100 miles per hour because you've been with your kids all day, and they don't talk like adults. So next thing you know, you talking everybody's ear off just to get a little conversation, right? But sometimes you overdo it because you haven't had a good conversation. And so just learn within reason things that you need to learn about yourself, so that you won't be a burden on somebody else. And it's okay for you to look at yourself and say, okay, yeah, I do need to kind of maybe get off the phone. not talk everybody's ear off. Well, what about if you lie? Lying on people just because you don't like the person. So I'm going to tear that person down because they think they something, or she thinks she sold this, or he think he sold that. So you're going to help him out by tearing his image down because you don't want other people to like that person. And that, you know what that is? That's the spirit of being competitive. And I don't know, I'm not really a competitive person. And I say that because the field I worked in, I can remember being in school and when I was at UOD and my undergrad degree is in marketing. And I can remember thinking, I'm not going to ever be no salesperson. Well, unfortunately, I did. That's what I did when I came out. Not right off because I went into management. And then I found myself in sales. And I could not understand these people. They just get so, you go to these meetings. You got to get hype. And then we go out and, tackling the world. And then we come back. What you get? What you doing? They all over your shoulder trying to find out what deals you have gotten. But my philosophy was this. I compete against myself. I don't compete against other people because I didn't like the spirit that they were acting out of. I mean, they almost be like they're going to knock you over or try to get your customer from you, And so I'm like, no. I don't get into that. I'm not very competitive because I don't see anything that someone has that I can't get if I want bad enough. Now, if I sit here and say, boy, I sure wish I had Oprah's money. Being a billionaire. I mean, I might want her money every day. But the thing is, do I want to have to go through what Oprah went through to get where she is today? See, we don't look at that. Nothing comes easy in life. So while you sitting around being jealous of one, are you willing to do what they had to do? Like what I had to do to get on this show. 2 days of not being here, not because I wasn't trying to get on air, but because I couldn't, because of whatever reason that was stopping me from getting on the air. Are you willing to challenge yourself to become that person that God has ordained you to become? Not Sally across the street, not Henry down the street, no, but for what God has called you to become. That's the thing that you need to be competing against yourself. And I think when we begin to stop competing against everybody, and I'm not saying you don't look at somebody and say, "Ooh, I like that," or "Oh, I like that." You may use certain things. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get into the point of being just vicious, I mean, vicious to the point of you just gonna knock that person down. You gonna knock them down by just being contrary to everything that they do. You're going to beat them up by talking against them, saying negative words against them. Now, how is that helping you? Because you reap what you sow. You hear me? I'm going to say it again. You reap what you sow. It may not be in that same direction, or it may not be in that same way, but down the road, you're going to find out, dang, why is this happening to me? It could be because you had your mouth on somebody, especially if they're a Christian and they pray. You need to understand, you on somebody who pray, you really foolish because God is hearing their prayer while you sitting around not praying, not believing. I don't know who you believe in, but they believing in God. And so God's going to fight their every battle. And he's not fighting against them. He's fighting for them. So if you're trying to take them down, he's not going to let that happen. So I hope I'm teaching you something today. When you're going around talking about ministers and bishops and people who go to church every day, just parishioners, you don't have to be a pastor not to be having your mouth on somebody. Just get your mouth off that person. You see them diligently seeking God, and now you mad with them. But you're not willing to do what they're doing. But you mad with them because they're getting some, good returns on what they are putting out. So now if you're not willing to stay up all night some days praying through, scripturally, going through the Bible, if you're not willing to do some of those things, then get your mouth off of people who you say, aren't much, they're not too much in your book. Okay, number 4 is learn your strengths. Just as you learn, you concentrate on your weaknesses, you have to learn how to concentrate on your strengths, because your strengths are the ones that help you during the times when your weaknesses are not, coming forward for you. You can concentrate now on the strong areas of you. I wasn't always a good communicator. My family knows I had a speech impediment as a kid. And they would talk about, I remember a guy next door, he would say, Michele Hughes. I would say, Michele Hughes. And he would, mock me because I would say Menemone Hughes, and my name was Michele Renee Hughes. And so that was something I had to work on. See, people don't understand. I'm not up here just to be up here speaking. I'm up here because my family knows that I had to work at speaking properly. And sometimes I still have, problems sometimes. I don't like to tell people because sometimes people start, trying to correct you, and I'm just going to have my fists up like, okay, talk to the hand when I knock you out trying to make fun of me. But anyway, no, I'm not like that, you guys. But I may tell you something. I may correct you too, okay? No, but anyway, yeah, so we all have things that we've had to work on to help us to become the person that we are today. I'm not always open, but when I'm under the anointing, I start saying things that I would not have normally said. Like what I just said is why I came back. My flesh came back and said, okay, don't come back and say nothing, because, I wouldn't have said that if I wasn't under God's anointing right now. So sometimes when I pastored, I would get up and sometimes I would go home mad with myself. Like, now why did I have to say that, Lord? Why did I have? No, I had to remind me. Wait a minute, this ministry is not about you. I thought you was into helping people, and you help people by the struggles that you've been through. Now, if you don't want nobody to know anything about you, you need to get out of ministry, because when I'm under the anointing, I'm gonna have you say things that you may not always like. And trust me, people, I don't know about some people. I hear people, it's like they just tell everything about what has happened in their life. Well, I've always been a kind of low-key person. Until you get to know me, you're not going to know much about me. And that's just how I am. But once you get to know me, oh, she's a friendly person. She's nice. I mean, I'm friendly and stuff, but, get to really know me. And so I just say that because somebody might be saying, dang, she telling stuff about herself. She don't usually talk like that. Well, unfortunately, that's just how it is. And so when God is using you, you have to be open for him to use you. Well, I'm going to give you the last one, and that is number 5, is learn how to love others unconditionally. And when you learn how to love people unconditionally, that means that sometimes you may not like everything about them. Everything about them, you may not be in agreement with them. But does that mean you have to stop loving them? Does it mean you have to challenge them and make them evil because maybe you have some evil characteristics about yourself? Just because you may not love the Lord like another person loves the Lord, doesn't mean you got to tear them down for believing in God. Why don't you just ask God to help you get where you need to go and get where you need to be in your life? And then what that will do is that will challenge you maybe to start going to church. And that's what church is all about. Because, let's face it, most of us don't, get into the Bible like we should. That's why we have pastors. That's why we have ministers who will study so that when you come to church, they have a word for you. And so go to a church where you're going to get fed. When you come out, you say, wow, that was a great word. That really ministered to me. It's helping me to become a better person. And so when it helps you to become a better person, then now you're growing. You're growing. I can remember Miles Monroe saying this. I can remember I would get up early in the morning sometimes when I was in my apartment. And I think at the time he would come on like 1 o'clock. I would set the clock just in case I would sleep or something because I had to get up and go to work. But I just had to hear him because I really grew from him. And I remember him saying, as you grow in the things of God, you'll get to the point where, first you'll check God to tell you to do something and you'll do it. And he said, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, I heard God's voice. And then all of a sudden you'll be walking with him. And he'll just speak to you, and you'll just do it. Then that's when you know you've matured in the things of God. And that takes time. It doesn't come overnight. And so people look at you, and they may say, well, she thinks she's cute. How she know? How she so spiritual? Well, cute ain't got nothing to do with spiritual things or ugly or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have anything to do with your spiritual walk with God. What it has to do with how much time you're going to put in to get closer to God. And I'm saying this to you singles. This is the prime opportunity. Why waste these, just precious years and minutes and days and hours to get to know Christ better? You should spend some time alone. Turn the TV off and pray and then listen. Maybe you should listen and then pray. How about that? Maybe he got a word to give you before you go into prayer. Just be quiet and let him begin to speak to you. And he'll give you just things that you would not have imagined he would have you doing because you're open to the Spirit of God. So those are the truths that I would give to you on today, because these are the things that's going to basically help you become a better person in God. Well, we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to come right back and got some more stuff for you.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as we deal with more heart-to-heart issues. This is the Queen of Relationships on the Michele Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Stay with us on the Michele Hughes Show. It's the Michele Hughes Show. We keep it real. We talk about singles, sex, men and women issues. Come join the conversation on the Michele Hughes Show. Are you satisfied, happy, or miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Well, tune in daily and join our controversial topics. She is the Queen of Relationships on the Michele Hughes Show. She keeps it real. Don't miss a show with Michele Hughes.
That's right. I want you to go tell a friend, let them know that every day at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, they can come and listen to Single, Sex, and Satisfied, yes, with yours truly, Michele Hughes, because we want singles to understand that we're going to have, or you can call in if you have questions and things of that nature. But right now I'm just kind of setting the tone so you'll get to know me, and you can always come back and listen to the show again if you missed out, so you can tell somebody, you need to go listen to her show, and they can come back and listen to the replay. Well, I have another poem for you, and it's single love poems. That's what I'm giving you today, and it's Love, Hope. This deep longing within me for you to fit the missing puzzle of my world never did fade away, never did diminish. I might have been deceived before, but the hope still lingers on, telling me softly to hold on, willing me to move on. I know not for sure when the day will come, when we will finally meet. When the moment does come, I pray I can recognize you and seize the chance of my life for the one true love of my life. My interest lies in the future, where two minds look towards the same direction, harboring the same goals, where two hearts beat in unison and commitment to live days filled with love. Oh my God, woo! I'm telling you, people, it's something about really understanding that God has your soulmate out there, and all you have to do is wait on God. Don't try to put yourself with somebody and just gonna make a relationship work. Now, you people who are in these live-in situations, because you just got to test the waters before you get married. I remember a guy, when Ameritech sent me over to Chicago, and they sent me for training for 2 weeks, and I met this guy. He was African, and he said he wanted to marry me. And so we said, when I came back, we started talking, and he wanted me to come and visit him. So I was going to make arrangements to go over and visit him. But he had some other reasons for me to come. And, of course, he wanted me to engage with him with sex. And I don't believe in fornicating before marriage. And so I told him, well, I don't believe in, having sex before marriage. He said, well, I'm not going to marry nobody who doesn't have sex with me before time. I'm like, well, I guess I'm not the girl, because I'm not having sex. So now you already heard it from my mouth. Now, will it be challenging when you get with a person? Is it going to be challenging when you love someone? That's the first thing. Come on, people. That's the first thing you want to give away is your body. But you got to have a commitment. You got to make a commitment to God and say, Lord, help me to not be patient. And this is my analogy about having sex before marriage. This is what I believe. I believe that if you can't take at least a year to get to know that person, I believe you should get to know that person in 4 seasons, spring, summer, winter, fall. I think you just need to know them in each season, because everybody changes when they in the wintertime, the fall, spring, and summer. People have different personalities. But if that person can't hold out before you get married, excuse me, What's going to help them to stay faithful to you when you get married? What's going to stop them from going out there when they see Miss Susie Q out there looking like a sex goddess? And you know what I'm saying? What's going to stop them from wanting to have sex with that person? So my thing is this: if you can't commit to me for a year without having sex, you better keep on riding, because you ain't getting jack here. That's my attitude on that. Because I believe if you're not faithful to God, and I'm talking about the man too, who God sends into your life, if he's not faithful to God in that area. Now, you know, some people are more highly sexed than others, and some people got to have a little bit of thrill. You know, some people say, well, you know, we don't go all the way in. You know, I've heard people say it in the church, we don't do the sexual thing. So, okay, what they're saying is that they're not having intercourse. Okay, God says if you look upon the person, you already have sinned. So now how you color that one? So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that you got to stay out of those precarious situations. Why are you going to his home? Why are you going to her home? If you know it's just the two of you all there in the home together, you know what's going to take place. You need to try to figure out, you know you're going to be with that person. First of all, once you figure out this is the person you want to be with, you got to start setting some perimeters. These are the things that you need to talk, especially I hope you're not with a person who's not saved. So if you're with a person who's saved, then these are things that you need to be talking to him about or her about. You know, what we going to do when we challenge to want to fornicate? You know, what we going to do? If you start making provisions before that opportunity presents itself, you're going to find yourself not going all the way in and having sex before marriage. So I hope I helped somebody. I gave you a little tidbit today. I hope I helped somebody out there. You probably say, oh, Michelle, come on now. Why are you had to bring that up? Because, I mean, that's what I love to do. Well, everybody loves to have some sex if they got any common sense, you know. And so I mean it's an enjoyable act, right? But you have to keep in the guidelines of the Bible. And the Bible is not trying to keep it from us. He's trying to help you to get to know the person that you're with. And so what happens first, once you get intimate, that's why people be running down that altar. You know, I don't want to burn, so they get married. And then they realize, you know what, I don't know what I've got myself into. I mean, he snores. I mean, you wouldn't know about the snoring part, but well, yes, you could. Maybe the person took a nap and you heard him snore or something like that. But I'm just saying, you find out things that you should have been trying to find out before you marry that person. Now, we know when you're single, everyone's on their best behavior. No one's just going to come out and just show you everything ugly about them. But what you're trying to do, you're trying to figure out some of those little areas that will help you to make some decisions whether or not this person is a person that you should be with. Because it may be, you know, like, this man, he got a temper. This man's mean. He's hateful. He's evil. Or she's mean, hateful. You know, she's not easy to work with. These are the things that you need to be trying to work out while you sitting up there in the bed. When I'm talking about, oh, they sure good under the cover. Well, unfortunately, if you talk to most married people, that's the first thing that goes. Man come home, she tired. I'm tired. You know, I'm asleep. Don't touch me. You know, listen, you need to talk to some married people, and they'll tell you some of their stories. And next, you know, they in the divorce court. Those people are not divorcing just because they want to divorce. They're divorcing because they found out things that they should have found out before they got married. And now, unfortunately, they're married. And now they're saying, oh, I'm out of here because I cannot live with this joker. I can't live with her. She is just, I mean, ridiculous. So these are the things that you're going to learn on the Michele Hughes Show, Singles. We're going to give you people, we're going to bring people on to give you their stories, the things that they've been through. Some are single now, but they've been divorced, or some, whatever the situation may be, as a single person, we're going to bring those things to you. Because I believe that the more you understand, I know you probably say, well, I know all that. I don't need to hear it on no broadcast. Well, maybe the show's not for you, but tell somebody else. Maybe it's for them, okay? So I just hope that you got something from our show today. And this is some of the things that we're going to touch on this week concerning singles. We're going to finish up the 10 rules of singleness. I gave you 5 today, and we're going to finish the other 5 tomorrow. So I want you to tune in. Tell a friend to come to the Michele Hughes Show on Spreaker. You can go to my website, www.singlesexandsatisfied, and that's and with A-N-D, satisfied.com. You can go there. You can tell them to go there to come back to our broadcast here. Well, I'm telling you, people, I'm so excited that you are able to hear me. Of course, I came on and made sure that gave some tests to make sure. I gave some tests the other day and it still didn't work. But anyway, we overcame that bridge, and I pray that we don't have any more bridges like that to overcome. Listen, I want you to email me if you have some questions or some things that you would want me to discuss. You could just email me. You don't have to leave your name or anything. You can go to single sex satisfied 365 at gmail.com. And I want you to tell me if you desire to have me discuss some things that you're interested in us discussing. Now, don't just listen and don't, partake. And when we start having question and answer, call in. Let me understand. Let me know that you're here. I know some of you are shy. Break the shyness. That keeps the show interesting. And I just want you all to really come back, and because we're going to work, we work hard at making sure that we find topics that will interest you. So I don't know every topic that you want to discuss. So that's why I want you to email us so that we can get back, or you can leave comments on the Spreaker.com website. And leave some comments there, what you like to hear or what have you. And so I know you probably say, oh, Michele. Well, that's the only way I'm going to know some of the desires that singles are, or not just desire, but some of the things that you're going through. I don't know everything, but if you keep me, filtering me information, it just helps to make sure you get some of your answers answered. And that's what we're here to do, to answer your questions. Again, I just want to thank Chuck Miller from the Guitar Center, who really helped me with the equipment so that we can air the show and everything. I guess you probably say, well, why didn't you do that before? Well, I had my mother fell and she was in the hospital for 2 days, so that kind of put me behind. And, I had some other challenges that I had to deal with. And so, kind of put me behind. And how sometimes you procrastinate? Well, I've done this show before, so I just thought, I had it under the bag, that I knew what to do. But unfortunately, it wasn't that easy. And so that's what the challenge came in, to be truthful. And so that's why you always should do a little sound test. I guess you say, well, why do you do that? Well, like I told you, I got kind of, preoccupied and, got behind a little bit. And, thought I knew what to do, and because like I said, I've done some shows on here before, and I just thought it was a piece of cake. Well, it wasn't a piece of cake. And you know what I found out? That's what life is all about. Life is not always a piece of cake. Every day, sometimes you are facing challenges that you didn't think you were going to face. Somebody lost a relative today. Someone woke up and found out that maybe they can't see. You'd be surprised the challenges that we're faced with on a daily basis that you didn't think you were going to be faced with. So no one can be hard on anyone saying, well, you should have did that, you should have did that. No, you don't know what you're going to do if you're faced with a situation that you didn't think you were going to be faced with. And those are the challenges that we deal with on a daily basis, especially as singles. When you're married, you have a husband, sometimes you have children. But when you're single, you only have yourself. Especially if you don't have no one in your life that you can really depend on. Some of you have boyfriends, girlfriends. You're in a relationship. Some of you are engaged, about to get married. So you have someone who you can kind of, if you got into a jam, you can talk to. But what if you're not really in that relationship right now? And you only have yourself and God to depend on. Those are the differences in being single. And that's why I'm here to bring out some facts that sometimes is overlooked while you're single. And I can speak this because this is all I know, is being single. So that's why I chose to do a show where I have lived this thing for 56 years. And I thank God. Without him, I don't know how I would have done this. And probably I would have married if I didn't have God by now. But with him, he made life easier for me. And then I think about when I lost my dad. I had him. I could always go to my father. My dad was my best friend. I could go to him, talk to him pretty much about anything. My dad always had a open ear to listen to you. He's a very laid back man, and he would listen to you and give you things that he felt that you should do. But I can remember sometimes, I don't think he liked any of those men I was with. No. I don't think Daddy really wanted me to get married. He would tell me certain things, but usually he was pretty accurate. So I thank God for my dad and things that he would tell me, because he was pretty much on the money, really was. And you could always, I could tell a man about a woman, and I could tell men about men too, to a certain point. But a man knows another man just as well as a woman knows pretty much another woman. That's why if you have a good mother, same thing with my mother. My mother was very good about certain speaking things into your life and helping you to understand where you should be or why aren't you here right now. My mother will always challenge me, to be truthful, to get married. And, she was really the one, she would challenge me to, because she got married young. She was only, 16, 17, graduated from high school and got married. And soon as my parents got married, she got pregnant. So, it was not easy for them. And so she would tell me, I remember when I really thought I was in love with a particular guy. He was in the Navy, and I think she could see that, she got, she been hit by the love string. I remember going to the storeroom, she telling me, Michele, I think you should really concentrate on finishing school. Well, I guess it didn't take too much to convince me I should get married, right? Because he wanted to marry me. And so, anyway, that's history too. But I can talk about some of the things that I can remember when I thought I was in love. And but I didn't think I was too in love to really walk down that aisle. And I thank God that I listened to God. And I can't say I was saved, but I'm sorry, people. God works even with the heathen. He works with the unbeliever. Because if we didn't, tell him what would happen to us and where would we be if we didn't have God working in our lives. And I thank God that during those times when I would hear small, still voices speaking to me, and I'm sure it was my parents praying, Michele, do the right thing, and, praying over our lives. I remember my dad would bow down at the end of the bed, before he would get up. When he woke up in the morning, he bowed down at the end of his bed every morning and every night. Never missed that. When he woke up, that was the first thing he did, giving honor to God. And I think that somewhere we need to begin to give honor to God. Don't wake up and don't pray to God and ask God for direction and guidance for your life. You need him to direct you and guide you and send for angels of protection around you and your family. That's so important. And I think we've gotten away from those things that the old people, the old folks would teach us. Our grandparents, our parents would teach us certain things. And that's why we're here, so that we can teach the younger people that don't wake up and not pray. This life is not do you. And I believe that it's been proven that people who go into the hospital and get prayer, they come out faster than people who go in there and don't get any prayer. That's why I make it a point when any of my relatives to pray over them, and they usually get out quicker than those people who don't get prayer. And so some of us who are single, maybe that's your mission. Maybe you should have visitations to the hospital, maybe to youth homes, whatever it may be, and go and pray for those children, pray for the sick, and pray for the elderly. We've just forsaken our elderly. I don't know how you wake up and forget about the elderly. How did we get where we are today without the elderly people? And I see children today, they don't go visit their parents, they don't call them. How did you get in this world without your parents? Single people, I am commanding you, I am insisting that we be better people when it comes to the elderly. Well, listen, people, it's been real. I thank God for you all coming to our show today, and I just know that in days to come, you're going to find it even more interesting, and you're going to find more subjects that we enjoy talking about? Well, until tomorrow, tell a friend, come to the Michele Hughes Show, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. I'm going to bid you all a goodbye, and remember, we keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in to the Michele Hughes Show. Join us daily for more hot topics with the Queen of Relationships. Always keeping it real. See you tomorrow on the Michele Hughes Show.